Hi, I'm Lexi Rose here on behalf of Blue Dog Press with the lovely Bria Scomber.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
How was your flight?
Flight was good. I can still sleep on planes, so they go by. Yeah.
Fair enough. So, after living in such a small town like Chilliwack, what was it like going to New York and going from a small city to Times Square?
To Times Square, yeah. Well, Chilliwack was an awesome place to grow up, and I lived in Vancouver for 10 years before I moved to New York, and I did a lot of traveling that time. So my transition was actually fairly seamless. I had been to New York 5 times before I actually moved there, and I had some friends there that helped with the setup. So I was as prepared as one can be for that. That being said, the learning curve is very steep, and a couple of things changed. You know, I sold my car. You take the subway everywhere, so you have to learn this whole other language of mapping and getting around the city. And the learning curve is steep, but it's very fast. So with that, you know, from a place like Chilliwack, where I was very comfortable, always had everything that I was brought up to get used to. New York is very different in that way. But all things considered, I had it okay. I had it pretty good.
You had references and
yes, I had people to show me this is how you get from here to there. This is where in our neighborhood, even just where you do your laundry, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What persuaded you to go to New York in the first place?
New York is a very exciting city. Again, I'd been there about 5 times, and the first few times I went, I didn't have the intention of living there. But as I started to kind of figure out that I needed a change, I needed to grow, to get to another place than just living in Vancouver, I started to feel out where the next place would be, and New York provided the biggest challenge for me. So that was probably what drew me in. Again, I'm one of those people that's like, well, if that's the hardest thing I can do, maybe it'll get easier after that.
Go for it.
It's not the case, but it's the most satisfying. You know, as you go out in life, you know, finding ways to challenge yourself and then overcoming the challenge just brings you so much satisfaction. That's where the real richness comes from.
Absolutely. You've traveled all over the world as a guest artist. Was there a certain place you went to or someone you met along your travels that really made an influence or impact on you or your music?
Well, I fell in love with somebody from France for a couple of years. that had a lot of impact on my life and music.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
You have a wonderful, almost a fantasy life in a lot of ways, and everybody that I've met along the way, I think I've absorbed a little bit here and there influence, and that comes out in your music. As artists, those are the opportunities we have. We get these kind of snapshots into a lot of different lifestyles, different people, and you take those experiences and you put them forward into your art. So I'd say a lot of people have influenced me along the way, but there have definitely been some people that stood out more than others.
Oh, of course. In November of 2012, you released your album, So Is the Day. It peaked at number 7 on the U.S. National Jazz Charts. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What goes into creating an album? Like, what's the process?
Yeah, it's a big process. It's the closest I've come to having a child. And of course, anybody who's had kids are like, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I get that. I do have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's like, it becomes this year-long labor of like, okay, I have to figure out what songs I want to have on it, what people I want to be involved. That being said, it was the first album I released in the United States, but the band that I had in Chilliwack, we've been going now for 15 years. I've released over 20 albums with bands. The one that's called So Is the Day is my second solo album. So with that one, I did a lot of original music. So the process had a lot to do with putting my honest self out there, putting my own music out there. It was in New York. So you figure out the material you want to record, and then you go into a studio and you record it, and that's a really fun experience. But that's when a lot of the work starts too, much like, you know, you go in to take it. You're going to make a music video. Well, you know, let's just video it. That's where the work starts. You have to kind of do the editing. You got to, mostly just editing and the artwork and figuring it all out. So I would say the album came out in, I think, April 2012, but I had recorded it at least a year prior. And some of the songs were written 2 years prior. So, you know, by the time it was ready to get out, I was already kind of mentally moving on to the next thing, which is, you know, part of the balance too.
Absolutely. When you were younger, who were some of your major influences in your life, and what made you really want to become a musician?
Become a musician? You know, I think becoming a performer kind of pulled me in a lot. Chilliwack had a jazz festival for over 20 years, and what was really exciting about that is that when I was in 8th grade, I played in the 8th grade jazz band at Chilliwack Middle School. We got to go to the festival, and a lot of kids would just take off, but I would stick around and listen to a lot of the performers. So a lot of local performers, even like the Dixieland Express from Victoria, Red Beans and Rice, and there was an Australian band that came over called Hotter Than Six, that their trumpet player eventually became one of my biggest mentors. They were big influences on me in like the tangible realm. As far as major pop influences, I loved the Spice Girls. I loved the Backstreet Boys. I loved I listened to a lot of even hip hop and R&B. I listened to a lot of disco. I listened to a lot of ska bands. I love Gwen Stefani. I love No Doubt, Lauryn Hill, Eva Cassidy. Like, I have a lot of different influences, especially from the time that I before I got into maybe performing jazz. So what's been interesting about writing music is that a lot of those influences kind of peek out a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Were there any decisions or risks that you would have liked to have made differently when you look back?
I don't regret things necessarily. I think that everything you do is an experience that you pull into yourself, and you create your own unique path, your own story, and you absorb them. So I wouldn't say that I wouldn't have done things differently. It's just the way that things happened, and there are things that maybe I wanted to happen at a certain time. If you were between the ages of 16 and 22 or something, you hope for that, big break, or like something really special will happen. And now in retrospect, I'm so glad that did not happen, because now I've had these really, really unique experiences. Now I've gone down these different pathways. Even if you think you want something different at the time, but when you get a little farther down the line, you realize it couldn't have been any different.
It's almost like if you take the long road down, you learn more, you experience more. You're not just going from here to here. It's just you work your way up.
It's a work in progress, and I've evolved as a person, and I'm still evolving. I think I live a very, very spectacular, very, very lucky, beautiful life.
What have been some of your proudest moments in your career?
Proudest moments? I think what's really special these days, again, having had so many wonderful opportunities open up for me as a young teenager, it's like when you get that opportunity to give back. So there are some times when I've gotten to work with like the kids at Chilliwack Senior, and I teach at a couple band camps, which sounds super dorky, but it's band camp, it's fun. Mm. And when you get that opportunity to give back and they do well, that's something that then you feel kind of proud, because they're doing a good job, and I get to feel that, relive that experience of what it was like the first time around. I try not to let anything, get too big in my head.
Yeah. You earned yourself a 2013 Jazz Journalist Association nomination for Up-and-Coming Jazz Artist of the Year. When you discovered you had this nomination, what was your reaction?
My reaction was, what? What are you talking about? How did I get on these people's radar? First of all, there are so many people out there, and you just, that decide these things, I guess. So you just have to wonder how you get on these different people's radar. And the people that were up in the category, I think the one who won it is Aaron Deal, and he's a phenomenal piano player, and he's a friend of mine. And so great. I'm more than happy that he got it, and I'm more than happy to be nominated. Yeah, so I think that was my initial reaction, like, oh my God, okay. It actually made me think, oh, okay, well, I guess I gotta work harder to own up to this kind of this responsibility of having this title in some way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just, how do you know who I am?
that was probably it.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it, like, okay. Oh, shoot. Okay, I guess people are listening. Okay, I gotta do something. I gotta be better. I gotta go. I think I just went and practiced for 2 hours after I heard that.
Fair enough.
Oh, shoot.
I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
If you could play music alongside one celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be?
Well, I have an answer to this question that I've said a couple of times, is that my American Idol is Louis Armstrong, and he had for years, he was mentored by this trumpet player named King Oliver, and so he played second trumpet in his jazz band. I wish I could have played third trumpet in King Oliver's Creole jazz band. They're both passed away now, obviously. But that would have been cool to kind of be a bit of a fly on the wall and sponge from those people. Yeah, and there are people I would love to collaborate with different people in different realms. Like, I love, I mean, any of the people that I said before, like if the Spice Girls or like Lauryn Hill or like, your idols when you're a kid, that would be cool. Neil Sedaka, that's a little, you probably don't know who that is. And Harry Connick, you know who that is, yeah. Calendar Girl. Yeah, I don't know, just, I look for opportunities for fun, kind of different, funny collaborations, so that would be interesting to have people in a crossover genre. Bobby McFerrin. I'll say Bobby McFerrin, Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
It's all coming down now. Now I'm like, wait, actually, you know who I would like to...
I was thinking that. I'm like, I wonder if she likes Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, totally. Stevie Wonder, Joni Mitchell, and Steely Dan. Those are groups that, like, really are kind of mainstream jazz. They're very jazz-oriented, but people still find them popular, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually listened to your album.
Okay. Hey, you're the one. Yeah.
Chilliwack Cheer. Mm-hmm. I have to ask. Were you thinking of a specific place in Chilliwack when making that song, or was it just kind of the feel Chilliwack gives you? Because it did really make me think of Chilliwack.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How did it make you think of Chilliwack? So Chilliwack Cheer on the album. It's like this kind of New Orleans-y groove, which basically comes down to the Trad Jazz Festival that happened there in Chilliwack for so many years. And then the cheer part of it is because I was on my soccer team and my volleyball team, and I did a lot of like spirit leading. I was in student council. Had a lot of spirit in school. And I had this red megaphone, and we have this cheer in Chilliwack, which maybe you know. It's like, chili, chili, chili.
Whack, whack, whack.
Yes! See? There we go. There's the cheer. Chili, chili, chili.
Whack, whack, whack.
Chili, chili, chili.
Whack, whack, whack.
Chili.
Whack.
Chili.
Whack.
Chili, chili, chili.
Whack, whack, whack.
Woohoo! Yeah. So that's the basis of the song.
Of course I know it.
There's a lot of, I felt that it was a creative, lyrical pursuit for me.
I haven't heard that in so long.
Lang, 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 li, li, li. Do you guys have a cheer here at Langley Fine Arts School?
I don't think we do, actually.
What? Gotta make one up.
I should get one started.
You got your L. Yeah, we should make one up.
I remember in elementary school we always used to do the Chilliwack cheer. I haven't done it in so long. Then I was like,
oh my god! yeah, and it's an easy song, so I think it might. I kind of hope that at some point the jazz bands at the Chilliwack School will just kind of put that in their repertoire, because it's easy to learn to kind of play over. Mm-hmm. And it's so silly. I like silly things.
Oh yeah, who doesn't? Penny in Your Pocket.
Oh, you like that one?
I love that one. Where did the lyrics root from, if you don't mind me asking?
Lyrics are, keep a penny in your pocket because you might need the luck. I think it was just kind of a, try to be sassy again, and then I developed the idea. Penny, nickel, dime. Just trying to find things that rhymed. Dime rhyme, just like that. I think I there wasn't a specific person for that. My creative process is I sit at that piano and I just kind of wait until something shows up in my mind. So I wait. So that just kind of came out one day.
You can't really force it. You just gotta let it come to you.
No, and the hardest part is having the time and space for that process to happen organically. Mm-hmm. There's so many pressures school-wise and people and things to think about, and now social media, Facebook, it's like, oh, I need to check my email every 2 seconds. But if you can shut all that off and sit there and wait for an idea to come, that's my favorite way to write, to create music.
Yeah, that's smart, actually. Just shut yourself off.
Yeah, well, there's a interesting, Elizabeth Gilbert, the one who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, had an interesting TED Talk about how, do you think that ideas come to you or through you? So, wow. You can think about that. That's a different talk. So wow. with that in mind, I don't know if that's part of it. If I can have a chance to conjure up something, or maybe the idea comes from somewhere else. I don't know.